Okay, so what I was going to say is that when you are looking at your what the fuck am I passionate about list, you are likely to see that you repeat one topic more than any others.
Yeah.
So now that Unlock Your Magic, now that I've like finished technically creating Unlock Your Magic, we have been going back and doing Unlock Your Magic, and then I've been filling in little bits that I just have kind of like picked up and noticed myself. So funnily enough, at the beginning of Unlock Your Magic, I said that I didn't know if, business was really like my magic, right? Well, guess what? It is, but also it's not the sole focus, is what I have figured out. All of this stuff that I am creating about business and, how to do business in a high frequency way it's a supplement to kind of the overarching theme, which for me is really cosmic and multidimensional reality, right? So it's like multidimensional business is a factor of that, but it's not the whole story. You know what I mean? It's like a chapter of the book. It's not the entire book.
Right.
Right? So funnily enough, I wasn't even like planning on recording this, but then I happened to look back at my own what the fuck am I passionate about list. And when I did, I realized that, there was this really big theme going on in my list where I had, I literally said business one time. And I even clarified, multidimensional, cosmic, high frequency business exclusively. And then I did not say business again. I didn't talk about anything else business related. All I said was business, right? I talked about knitting and crochet one time. I talked about yoga one time, right? So those are factors in my New Earth grid and in what I'm doing and in the magic that I can monetize if I choose to. And that's really what it's about, right? Like I'm not choosing to monetize my crocheting, right? But I like to crochet my crop tops whenever I want to and, have absolutely no pressure around that. So what I realized though was that as I was recording Monetize Your Magic, I was having so much fun with it. And we're really programmed to like basically pick one thing and stick to it. And that's not what we're doing in multidimensional business because it's multidimensional. So we can do whatever the fuck we want. And we can tie all of that together based not on a limited niche, but literally on your frequency and the frequency of your brand. Right? It all comes down to actually just the frequency that you are carrying and the frequency that your brand is carrying in the world. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to actually for once record something super quick just because I really, really, really wanted to stress the importance of looking at your lists as a whole. And I think that this will also become easier once we have the workbook for Unlock Your Magic as well, which I am working on. But right now, just utilizing, whatever you've used to make your lists on, really looking at like, what are the themes that are presenting in my Unlock Your Magic multidimensional blueprint, because that's what these lists are. They are actually your blueprint that we have started creating here. So that blueprint is telling you the themes that you have. And for me, it was just overwhelming. I looked at it and I was like, well, I talked about the aliens and the cosmic homies and frequency and multidimensional reality and this and that and the other, like 15 different ways on this list. And then I said business once, I said yoga once, like I've talked about how, I could have gone out and become a yoga instructor because I've done yoga for literally like over 20 years of my life now, but it's just never appealed to me to really be a yoga instructor beyond when I used to do yoga inspired fitness classes when I was a fitness instructor in my early 20s. I still do my yoga every morning. I get incredibly stiff in my vessel if I don't. Sometimes I have to do more limited yoga than others. Like right now, my back's kind of gone out because I'm experiencing this lower chakra clear out situation. So I did some tapping this morning. I did a meditation with the Arcturians. I cried a bunch. It was like a whole situation. This is also stuff that comes up in business and in life, because it's all connected as part of this multidimensional reality that we're experiencing. And it was funny because a couple of days ago, I was doing my morning messages card reading, and the intuitive message that I got started with like, I just tried to compartmentalize everything way too much. And that's really part of multidimensionality, is it has this flow rather than being these little boxes that we take out and, okay, here's my personal box, and here's my work box, and here's my romantic box, and here's my money box, and here's my health box, and all of this other stuff, right? We got really programmed to box all of this stuff up and never let the peas touch the carrots on your plate, and really just keep everything so compartmentalized. And, well, if it's something in your personal life, it doesn't belong in business. And if it's, in business, it doesn't belong in your personal life, but it's all connected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, how many people out there have ever laid awake at night when they were not on the clock and worried about their job or worried about money? Or how many people have worried about a relationship that they were in while they were in a meeting at their, at work? Or while they were actively doing something, have they thought about their health while they were at work? Wow, I wish my back would stop hurting. I hope the chiropractor really has something good to say later. You know what I mean? Yeah. You really can't compartmentalize all of this stuff. But that's the thing, is like people try to compartmentalize their own existence on Earth rather than being aware of their multidimensional experience as a soul throughout the cosmos. So it's just another as above, so below situation. But we have to begin to really become conscious of this and realize that like it's when we can have all of these areas of our multidimensionality flowing together. The frequency ranges are not separate. They are just a range, you know what I mean? It's 89.7 on the radio is not really that different from 101.3, except maybe they're vastly different, but you don't have to get another radio to tune into 89.7 or 101.3. You just tune the dial.
Exactly.
It's a range.
Yeah, it's like a rainbow. There's multiple colors all traveling together.
Exactly. So
same beginning spot to end spot.
Yeah, so it's not about, this is a box here and this goes in this box here or whatever. It's about recognizing the flow of our entire sense of multidimensional reality, but also recognizing what the overarching theme of that is. Because when I stopped looking for how do I make money and I started looking for what am I telling myself, the answers became very clear. But we are so programmed to make money, right? And that's really where we lose the magic. Mm-hmm. But the magic is the mission. Your magic is your mission on Earth. That's something that's come through for me over the past couple of days a lot. Is the magic is the mission, and the mission is the magic. And so we have to be able to tune into all of ourselves and tune into this entire multidimensional range that we have and that we can tap into so that we can really see what we're doing here. But to do that, we have to get out of the, just being focused on the money and all of that. Like it's just start living your life like you assume that all the money that you need, want, and desire, you already planned for that, and you have it set up, and it's just waiting for you to put the right code in to the universe, and then it's going to get deposited into your bank account. And then start putting the right code into the universe so that it can get deposited into your bank account. But how do you put the right code in? By unlocking and monetizing your magic. That's how. This is literally it. This is how monetize your magic is the actual how of how do I monetize my mission? How do I access my cosmic cash? How do I actually do this? It is the literal step-by-step, go here, do this, do it in this order. Please activate your cosmic debit card. Can you please type your cosmic mission after the beep? You know what I mean? Follow it with the pound sign. And you're like, well, shit, I can't remember my cosmic account number. All right, how about your cosmic pin? Nope. How about your cosmic, what did I walk into Earth for? Nope. You know what I mean? So it's like people are just out here trying to, access their cosmic cash, but they don't know how. And that's the thing is I realized nobody knew how to access their cosmic cash. Nobody knew how to access their mission. Nobody knew how to actually, what are the steps I take to monetize my mission, right? I recorded Monetize Your Mission as a masterclass for the Starseed Mission Activation Quest, like almost exactly a year ago. And then I promptly realized that it was all well and good to tell people that they could monetize their mission and that was the whole point. But, then inevitably was going to come the question, well, how do I do that? What do I actually go do? Because I know what I'm here to do on Earth. I know what I feel called to do. I know what my magic is, but I have no freaking clue how to make money off of it. And that's why I went out and chose to become a professional witch, so that I could be like, look, if I could do this, I mean, you can do it with your magic.
Yeah.
If I could do this with dick candles, who's to say that you can't do whatever the fuck you want with whatever your magic is? That was really why I chose that particular career from a cosmic standpoint. I was like, what is the most ludicrous thing that I could do to show the cosmic homies that they can do it too? I'm going to be a professional witch, and I'm going to have questionable herbs in my hair, and I'm going to know every method for getting wax off of something, because that was a professional thing that I needed to know. When you're lighting 60 candles on fire per week, wax is going to get on your carpet. You got to get that shit up unless you want to live in a waxy house. And do you know how you do it? You take a wet towel and an iron, and you iron your carpet. So periodically, I would text my friends things like, talk to you later, homies. I got to go iron the carpet. And that's how you get wax out of your carpet. It's really effective. I mean, it was crazy how well it worked. But paraffin wax, anyways. I'm not sure if it works with all kinds of wax or not. But, I was specifically using paraffin wax. But, I mean, literally, that's I needed to know things like that. How do you get all of the wax off the trays that I used? Pop it in the freezer. 5 minutes. Wax will just come right off. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting there scraping and having a dreadful time. Literally, I really went out and was like, I'm going to just do some wild shit and just prove to them that it'll work. You know what I mean? It's like when Fast and the Furious went to space. That's kind of what I was like, I'm going to go to space except with witchcraft.
Yeah.
But then, we're really, 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 really programmed to pick one thing. And that's the thing is when I tell you to niche down, I don't mean it in the way that most people do. I mean it in the way that when you can become known for something very specific, like I became known for candle magic very specifically, right? I then opened up into all of this different stuff, right? But I went into this very specific realm of reality because it makes it so much easier to talk to somebody about something very specific. If you think about, particularly for us multidimensional baddies, when somebody starts a conversation with you and they're like, oh, and just say some really vague, generic shit. Mm-hmm. You're like, yeah, I'm having a conversation on Earth, but then when somebody's very specific about what they're talking about, mm-hmm. you automatically engage more.
Yeah.
The conversation flows easier, right? Rather than saying, so Michael, how was your day? He's probably going to respond with oh, it's been pretty good, drove down the mountain,
Went grab some coffee.
Went got some coffee.
Lidocaine patches.
Lidocaine patches for my wife who's regrowing some chakras. Don't mind her. And they're helping. It's really, I can breathe. Yay!
Yay!
I'm
so glad.
Thank you. But then if I'm like, so Michael, tell me about I'm trying to think of something very specific. Let's talk about Arcturian multidimensional healing.
I knew you were going to actually say that.
Because it's a frequency shot that's playing on the TV, and I'm tired today, and I didn't feel like making up an entirely different thing. What can I say?
That's okay. But see, that's the thing is, like, when you look at it and notice how the conversation's going, it's something that's real, something that's happening. You're not trying to make it up.
Yeah.
On the spot. No, it's literally like...
It's literally just what's playing on the TV. And the branding for it's so pretty.
It is.
Is this public?
Yes.
Okay.
It's got 326 plays currently.
Nice.
This makes probably 28 because we just listened to it before.
Ah.
So this is the second playthrough.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, literally, like, I just wish that I could have taken... You know how you can see the square box?
Yeah.
I tried making that as a background remover, and it ruined the actual picture. And what the major thing was, like, it's a sacred... I remember in Arcturian healing technology, it's a sacred geometry style pod. It's an etheric energetic pod on top of, like, because there are the physical planes and there's the energetic planes. I remember that they're able to do both on both sides. And that was just the first thing that made sense when I was making that.
Do you guys know he had never said any of that to me before?
Yeah.
I'm not even sure he had realized it.
Kind of, when I was making this picture, kind of, that was...
He did a little as a treat.
Yeah, a little as a treat. That's how it works.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah. Arcturus is really beautiful.
It is. So, you see how I'm sorry, I got cold all of a sudden. So you see the difference in, like, he just kind of went straight for that. This is something Michael's a cosmic specialist in. He's been having a bit of a, laborious time remembering, but I think that could be said for, like, everybody. It's very difficult to remember. The reason why it seems so easy for me is because I started so long ago.
Yeah.
Right? I also purposefully and with intention utilized a lot of different techniques to elevate the ability of, my quote unquote psychic abilities. I literally utilized psychedelics to break out of the perceptions of Earth reality because I had to see what was actually there. And I did that with, like, a lot of intention and, like, again, purposefulness and specifically, like, okay, I'm gonna eat this edible, and I'm gonna then layer my edibles, and then I'm going to smoke this exact strain of THC, and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. Although I didn't really have a lot of access to, like, different, like, specific strains. I kind of just had to take whatever the universe was delivering at that moment in time.
Literally.
But
talk about living by faith with that.
Yeah, but it was always what I needed. But I also, I learned how to layer the different, kind of psychedelic effects so that I could get to certain levels, but the whole time I was going up through the etheric planes and learning how to traverse all of this stuff on a very high level. And I did all of that during, quarantine. Mm-hmm. On purpose, like, all right, finished lighting my candles on fire for the day. Gonna go to a shamanic journey on the astral planes. Let's go visit the cosmos. Woo! What's really going on out here? Like, I needed to know, but if you notice, kind of everything that I talk about leads back to one thing, and that's multidimensional reality. And that was my determination to remember and to access that stuff. So it was funny, this morning I had listened to a recording that I had done back in September, and we had it in the behind the scenes podcast for Monetize Your Magic, and I just decided, I was like, let's just take all of that out. I want to go back and listen to it because I really want to have Monetize Your Magic be like the best of the best information that I have, not just like all of the content that we have to throw at you. And when I listened to this little recording that I had, you know, I really felt like I needed to only focus on business. I felt like the time was not then to focus on all of this, you know, multidimensional and cosmic reality stuff. And what's so funny is that less than a month later, Michael and I began traveling full time. I was, you know, I had to go through all of this different stuff to even get to where I am now. And I had to go through all of this deprogramming, and it really wasn't the time to focus on creating that stuff right then, because we were also about to go on a, you know, cross-country gridding mission. We were about to do some really crazy shit, right? So by being able to just focus on this one thing of business, and how do we do this and what do we do? I was able to like have this space for myself to go on the rest of the mission that I was about to go on. But then sometimes you realize like, yeah, I had a reason for why I chose to do that 7 months ago, but it's not 7 months ago anymore. Right? It's now. And I also didn't understand things the way that I do now, because so much has changed just, you know, kind of this year alone. Especially once I started painting the grids, I understood things just on a much higher level. And I've been able to have space to have my own memories and to really piece stuff together and to really like get into a space where I feel more comfortable about this stuff. I also was able to get space from the quote unquote spirituality community and from all of that. So it's like now I realize like, well, of course that's what this has all been leading me to, but sometimes we take kind of narrow paths to get to an infinite limitless space that we're going to. So it felt like a limited path to only focus on business and stuff, but actually I was just, you know, sometimes when you're driving up or down a mountain, it's a really narrow road.
Yeah. And you can only go one way.
You can only go one way. It's a 1-lane road. Like, you know, also being in the mountains so much has taught me so much just about how this stuff works. It's really crazy how just having this brand new experience of being in the mountains and the way that things kind of work here. And, you know, like entire places will just shut down because it's foggy. It's too foggy to drive off the mountain. You know, or there'll be, you know, a random snow that happens. And it's like you really learn how to let go of control and not fight nature when you live in the mountains. That's kind of the thing that I've learned. You also, sometimes you just got to drive down that 1-lane, narrow ass road. The car is like, we're bumping up and down on rocks all the time. We went down this one gravel road.
We were going down a mountain.
We were going down a mountain. It was right before sunset hit. And this was several months ago. This was when we first started coming up to Ski Central. But I was like panicking the whole fucking time. I've gotten so cool on mountains and narrow ass roads though, because I used to just panic constantly, and it still will happen. But now the stuff that I used to panic over, you know, like the mountain that we're staying on right now, the first time we drove up it, we even have it on recording. I literally was like having a panic attack driving up this mountain. Now I'm just like, oh, whatever. This is great. I've got cell service. I can make my Instagram post. You know what I mean? Like I'm just completely unfazed.
Yeah.
But you know, if we hadn't gone through all of the discomfort and then of the narrow roads and kind of the feeling of limitation of those narrow roads, and of driving up stuff that honestly like scared the shit out of me, even just being in the passenger seat for, much less, you know, I wasn't driving. But then you start to realize like, oh, it's no big thing. I can go up this mountain. It's not a big deal. Like, do you remember that one mountain we drove up in Hayesville that was like hanging off the side of the road, 1 lane, and we got to the top? It was so cool up there.
Oh yeah.
We got the rocks from there. I was like, I got to take these rocks. They're pretty.
Whatever happened to them? Do you remember?
The rocks are, I think they're in storage right now, actually. Yeah, because they were on the, they were on the fireplace. They were on the hearth at our house in Georgia. So when you do stuff, sometimes it can be a little bit like, I'm just, you may realize like, I've been focusing on this one thing and making everything about this one thing. And actually it's just a part of it, right? Like I've talked about how my readings were just a conduit to get my clients what they really wanted, which was spell work and magic done by me for them. But they had to have their reading because I had to know what the fuck I was doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? I couldn't just go, I wasn't about to just go in and start slinging magic. I probably would have made a lot more money if I had, if I'm being honest. But that just wasn't my vibe. I was like, if you want to buy more, you will. And if you don't, then like somebody else will, honey. Yeah. That was just the energy that I had. Yeah. And it was really nice to do business in that way, because it was just very energetically clear, because you're just not worrying about what somebody else chooses to do. Right. But sometimes we can get a little bit stuck on like, I'm so dumb. I just thought I was supposed to only focus on business, but actually I literally carry the codes and the keys to wake up all the multidimensional homies. Like, of course I'm doing a lot right now. Yeah. Like, I've got a lot of codes, a lot of frequencies, and a lot of keys to pass out. Yeah. And I'm all of this stuff that I'm creating is just all of these various methods of delivery for the codes and the keys and the frequencies that I have to give to the multidimensional homies on Earth. Here you go. You need this one. Wake up. Here you go. You need this one. Monetize your magic. Here you go. You need this one. Remember Sirius B. Here you go. You need this one. Remember Hydra. Ooh, all this different stuff, right? So much different stuff. But that also can feel a little bit overwhelming for us, just because it's like we're not used to seeing people do things on this scale. And I say that for every multidimensional homie. We are all going to be out here doing stuff that is way bigger and way more complex and should not make sense and should not work than anyone else on the face of the fucking planet. Because we are the multidimensional baddies of the multidimensional baddies. Yeah. That is just how it is, right? We're all carrying a lot of torches. Yeah. We're like, we've got boxes of flashlights for everyone. They carry the codes and the keys that you need to wake up and be a new Earth. There you go. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's what we're doing here, and it's a ripple effect. So what I do affects the people that I have contracts with, but then those people can go out and do what they're supposed to do with the people that they have contracts with. Mm-hmm. And then those people go out and do what they're supposed to do with the people that they have contracts with. And it all hinges on, for my part of it, it all hinges on what I'm doing. But then, like, for your part of it, it all hinges on what you're doing. For somebody else's part of it, it all hinges on what they're doing, because it all works together. Mm-hmm. Right?
It's a team effort.
It's a team effort. And we also have to get comfy with that, because so many of us are used to like showing up, being the best at what we do, having to do all of the work, and we're like, fuck that. I'm not doing everybody's work for them again, because that's what we got programmed to believe a team effort was like one or two people really taking on the brunt of the effort and the work. Mm-hmm. But that's not what we do, because we're multidimensional baddies.
How things are, though. That's the catch, is that like it's.
But the programming is so insidious.
Yeah, and it's also just because you probably experienced that when you were a kid, going through something in class, and you were literally like the only person that was actually putting in forth effort, or there was only like half the team. It's not like that on a cosmic scale, because everybody's like the exact same way down here.
It's like everybody shows up to the Fast and the Furious party. Everybody has a job to do, and everybody fucking does it, and they're the best at what they do. Yeah. We're doing the same thing on Earth. I'm never going to stop with my Fast and the Furious analogies.
Don't.
It's not going to happen.
No.
I wonder if you know how they live in Tokyo. Okay. I love Tokyo Drift. It's a great. I really want to be in a car that is drifting.
Yes.
I will not be driving,
no.
But like I'm telling you, one of our like multidimensional pod homies, he can drift, and Michael and I are like,
yes.
Put us in your fancy car. Woo! Drift.
It's gonna be so fun. I got to experience that kind of in the back of a truck. And that was some crazy shit because there was no cover. It was the back, it was the trunk, it was the truck, it was open air. And it was like, you better hold the fuck on because otherwise you're sliding and you can, like, you hit a bump, you're getting out of that truck. It was crazy.
Oh, honey. My grandpa used to do that, and it was just called going to check the back 40 of the pine tree farm. Literally, he was like, me and my grandma would get in the truck, and we would hold on, and oftentimes, now we really like to be wild women and have the tailgate down and ride on the back of the tailgate.
Oh.
Yeah, with like our feet dangling off. Yeah, it was great.
How fast do you think you were going?
Oh, he wasn't going very fast. I mean, we were driving down a dirt road through a pine tree forest.
It still probably felt like it was something crazy.
He might have been going like maybe 15, 20 max.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, it was great. But then, oh no, if we were, because they had a trash dump on their property. That's how my grandparents dealt with their trash, because we lived way out in the country in Oklahoma and the trash didn't come out there. So he made a dump, was what he called it. And so that's what every week he would like take the trash to the back 40, was what my grandma called it, because they had 40 acres of pine trees, and in the very back of that 40 acres was where he put the dump way back in like the 60s when he built the house. And so now if he was just going on if he had shit to do, or if he wanted to go sit in his barn with his gun, he never shot anything. He would just go sit in the barn with the gun and like cuddle the gun on me. He was a weird dude. He just liked to go, he wanted to go look at the deer and hold his gun. He never shot him. Yeah. It was so funny. He shot the turkeys though. I don't know what was up with that. But yeah, if he had something he wanted to do, that was when he was like driving 35, 40 miles down the fucking back roads, like, and if you wanted to go, you could go. But he was like, that was when you had the tailgate up. Yeah. If he was going with a purpose and not just going to look at his trees, you put the tailgate up because your ass was going to bounce off.
Yeah.
I miss that pine tree forest so much. I loved it there. It was so magical. And there was holly in the very back. Oh. And yeah, it was really cool. I really, really, really I want my own pine tree forest again. And then I just want to go commune with my trees. I think that sounds amazing. And there's tons of pine trees up here, so it's great. There's also tons of pine trees that we didn't have in Oklahoma. So the pine trees here are like massive, and it's dope. So there's a little side tangent about pine trees and the back 40. But yeah. What were we talking about?
Realistically, it's remembering that like we're all here together doing this.
Yeah, we're all here hauling the trash off together.
Yeah, literally. Hauling the trash, doing the cleaning job.
We're
reminding everybody what we're here for.
Cosmic cleanup crew. So just here to harmonize a frequency range. Don't mind us.
Yeah.
No big.
And the biggest part, one of the biggest parts, we're done now, thankfully, because that grid, it's been activated. It was shifted.
The grid's done, but there's still a lot of work to do. You know what I mean?
There is, yes, but that was also a massive global.
Yeah. Now it's just like, okay. Yeah, it's like that was like the new grid was the fresh start. Now it's about opening and strengthening's not the word that I want to use, but it's the one that comes up the most. I just haven't found a proper word for it. It's not about strengthening it as much as it's just about
growing and reinforcing
and allowing it to flourish.
Let it grow like a tree
from a frequency standpoint, and then what are we doing to facilitate that?
Yeah, how are we keeping everything clear? How are we keeping things to where it can consistently grow naturally and healthily?
Yeah.
Like, in a healthy way.
And for my part, I just realized, like, it's not just talking about business. It's not just talking about how do we make money in the New Earth Grid. I mean, I'm kind of the homie with the New Earth Grid plans, like, quite literally. That's what I draw all the time is my grids. It's not just Earth. I've got plans for everywhere, but, the grids are actually the key codes. I have the blueprints for the stuff that'll wake everybody up. So and I think that's why I've been like, this isn't all I'm supposed to be talking about. I've been very confused. And I'm going to say this. I feel this is accurate for everyone listening. I will say that I have noticed that while generators tend to have a lot of different interests, they also really tend to focus on one area in particular. I've noticed that projectors mimic that with the added bonus of being able to change that particular focus that they're focusing on whenever they want. So they actually can get a little bit overwhelmed sometimes with like all the potential focuses that they could have. Mm-hmm. This is echoed in our friends, the manifesting generators and the manifestors, in that we tend to have these kind of complex things that don't seem to be outwardly related, but they actually 1000% are all connected. I feel like generators can sometimes feel like they need to add on more rather than really being brilliant at what they're brilliant at. Excuse me. But that typically happens because they're not letting themselves open up to the full myriad of possibility that their area of expertise has to offer. So it's very multidimensional for everyone. And I haven't discussed reflectors because I don't have a lot of information about reflectors. And I don't really like to speak about things I don't know too much about. If you're a reflector and you're listening to this, I would love, for you to feel free to tell us about your experience, ask questions. Once I can energetically connect, I've never really known a reflector is my issue. I've looked for reflectors a lot, and I've only met a couple of reflectors in passing, and we didn't vibe. I just got to be perfectly honest. We didn't vibe, and I was not able to really connect with them and gather information about the reflector energy type. Simply because we weren't a vibrational match. Yeah,
we're already in disresonance.
So it wasn't, that wasn't the concept of being able to connect energetically wasn't there. And like I said, I only met a couple in passing, and it was just a very clear whoo, this is not a vibe, right? So I'd love to meet some though. I'm sure there's reflectors out there that are a vibe.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that those people are also, 1000% vibes for other people. It was just and it wasn't even, it's no hard feelings. It just I don't even know these people. I just literally came across them, and I could just feel it wasn't, I was I don't know you, and it's not a vibe for me to know you. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. So you're not meant to be friends with everybody, kind of a thing.
Yeah. And when you can kind of pick up that energy, and that, saves you a lot of unaligned energy experiences. So
literally,
it's very important right now for us as we are moving through this phase in time and space to be very conscious of being way more open than we've ever been before to a lot. To allowing ourselves to be a lot, to allowing, to not getting overwhelmed by the amount or size of what we might realize, right? To say, I've got pretty much all the codes that people need to remember multidimensionality and to remember who they really are and to remember their cosmic experiences and all of this other stuff, right? I could allow that to overwhelm me. I could allow that to feel like a lot if I wanted to, but to be honest, that really doesn't do anything for me actually doing my mission, right? So instead, what I choose to do is just recognize, for example, this is one of the main reasons why I wanted to quit doing spell work, and I wanted to stop having kind of all of my creation time taken up with one-to-one clients It was actually because I realized that I had so much that I needed to share with the world very quickly that I was too limited by the amount of people I could talk to if I was spending all of my time doing one-to-one psychic sessions and spell work consultations and spending all my time doing spell work, right? That was a huge part of it, was the fact that I realized, and I've been reminded of this as I was curating Luxury Witch Lifestyle from my older written content. And at the very beginning when I was putting that together, I was reading some of my old work and some of my old writings that, I was like doing for myself, because I always do my own work for myself. I always test my own stuff. And I saw these like things that I had written where I was like, I'm never going to be able to talk to enough people in this business model to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm never going to be able to, I can't do this. My work is too limited. And that was the issue, was I was like, I've got to talk to more people because I've got all of this information that I've got to share with all of these people, and I can't do it in this way.
Right.
So then it was like, well, got to shift stuff. So we've just got to be open to being bigger, to being bolder, to being filled with plans that don't make sense, to moving way faster and way more than all of these other people. That was a thing that I realized was like really slowing me down and holding me back, was, people who move at a glacial pace and need to take 12 years to do something. Mm-hmm. I get it. I thrive in chaos. I understand that. And I'm not saying that you have to work exactly like I do. What I am saying is that I've noticed all of us cosmic specialists who have done this before, there are a lot of cosmic homies who are just here to hold their frequency, and they're just here to vibe. I totally support them, right? They're not who I'm talking to in this, though.
Right,
have you noticed that they haven't been joining Monetize Your Magic when they could? That they haven't been, it's because there's a lot of people here who are going to be impacted by ascended frequencies, who are going to read the blog, who are going to listen to the podcast, who are going to do this stuff, but they're just here to vibe. Mm-hmm. They're not here to necessarily like do exactly what we're here to do. I'm talking to, a percentage. 2 billion cosmic homies incarnated onto a planet is a lot. Yeah. All of them are not supposed to scorch Earth.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, all of them are not supposed to scorch Earth. And that's one of the reasons why it's been so difficult for me, because I'm like, but I want to have stuff for them too. I want to party with all the cosmic homies. And this is rude. I've been, I'm having a BF over here. But that's because I remember how much stuff we're really here to do. But when you tap into another person's frequency just because you're like, ooh, multidimensional baddie, it doesn't mean we're all here doing the same job.
Exactly.
And the thing is that I still want, even if you're not, that's kind of the thing, is like, even if you're not here to scorch Earth and you're just here to hold your frequency and vibe, man, you know what I found was that if you have 6 figures a year coming in, and you're monetizing your magic, you're monetizing your mission, it is so much easier to hold your frequency and just vibe.
Yeah,
not everybody
just gonna be doing you.
Yeah, not everybody has to go really big. Not everybody has to do this really big stuff. But when you have the difference in that monetary amount, it just makes you so much more open to your own frequency and to tuning into that and to being in that 24/7, because you're not having this focus pulled constantly and having to go back into these frequency ranges that aren't you, that aren't your mission and aren't your magic.
Right. Everybody is supposed to be where they're supposed to be, and everybody's going to be where they actually gravitate to, where they resonate most, just by being themselves.
Yeah.
So and everybody's going to be in their own specific places, sections, things, specialists.
But you have to make sure that you're not leaning into someone else's frequency and you're not mimicking someone else's frequency. If you're here to move slow and vibe and really are like, I move at a glacial pace and that's all there is to it. Maybe you're not here to scorch Earth. Maybe you're here to vibe and do all of that stuff. And that was actually really what my first intention behind Monetize Your Magic was I was like, I want the multidimensional homies to be able to do whatever the fuck they want on Earth and make 6 figures a year on autopilot about it. That was my whole first intention with Monetize Your Magic, was the pursuit of that, so that people can just like, oh my God, I can't even believe that we're still having to talk about this, like, but we are, and we knew that was going to be a thing. But when I really tap into my own very Arcturian frequency, we don't have an economy because we can manifest whatever the fuck we want whenever the fuck we want it. And it's just really, if something's required by one, it's required by the entire Arcturian collective. And so we just create it as a matter of necessity for everyone involved. Like, it's just,
Yeah. That's what's natural for you. But
it's
you
just
also...
natural.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing is, like, everyone that's going to move at a certain pace, that's it ultimately, like, for example, I'm going to go back to what you said earlier. You were saying pretty much like there are specific people that move at this pace, and of course there are others that don't, but the major thing is that those are the people that we're typically going to be talking to within the specialists. But the specialists that are moving at that pace, it's like anything, you gain traction by gaining the experience. Like, if you don't start doing something, if you don't ever move, you're never going to start moving faster. You're never going to start learning how to move and how to do things at a faster pace. But it also shows the experience of knowing how long that you've done it by how fast you move.
Yeah, because, if you think about, if you've never done something before, you're going to move way slower. Maybe you just haven't been on Earth very much, and maybe that's why you have to move, at this slower pace. Maybe that's why you feel like you just can't move as fast as other people, because maybe you're just really not used to being on Earth.
And that's okay.
And so it's just the time matrix is not translating for you on a multidimensional level. So that's chill, no big deal, right? But it also, this will tell you how often has your soul done this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and how much do you remember of it? The more that, this is a big thing. The more that you remember, I'm going to be honest, like, everybody on Earth right now, they've done this a bunch.
Yeah.
A lot of people just don't remember. And when you don't have access to your memories, it's going to feel like you're doing this for the first time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you have not accessed your multidimensional memories and you're like, well, it's fine, I chose to incarnate on Earth, so I'll just forget everything. And I'll just know I'm a cosmic baddie, but, like, I don't need to actually remember all of that because I'm having an Earth experience, so I should just put all my focus here, right? Wrong. No, because the more you tune into yourself, the more self-assurance you're going to have, but also the more you're just going to be like, oh yeah, I fucking know how to do this. Like, no big deal.
Yeah.
And you're able to move at a rate that actually vibrates in alignment with your frequency rather than trying to match your frequency to the external world around you. And that's really a big difference in doing business on a cosmic scale and not doing business on a cosmic scale. Like, Earth business versus cosmic business. Here we go. That's one of the biggest things. And the funny thing is, I can't actually remember what I just said, so I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that, because apparently I just channeled some really good shit. What did I say? Do you remember what I said? Oh, it was that good.
Yes,
excellent.
I do. It was that good. I'm also, it's all kick, all the.
No, when I'm really, I've noticed when I'm really channeling stuff that's like super important on a multidimensional level, we forget what I say, and then we go back and we listen to it because we were in a little pocket dimension, and I was being given information, and then I transmitted the information. We exited the pocket dimension, and now we're back in normal, Earth reality.
That's what happened?
Interesting. Yeah. So see why it would be a little bit of a waste of my very multidimensional talents if all I talked about was making money?
Yeah, literally.
But it's a really big part of it, because guess what? If you don't know how to keep the cosmic cash flowing in, it's going to be really hard to stay on that mission.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that keeps people from their missions so much. Well, but, the 3D world is calling. Well, it might be calling, but we don't have to answer the line. You know what I mean? Like, we can choose a higher frequency reality for ourselves and the planet and everyone who comes into contact with us, but not if we don't remember that higher frequency reality ourselves, and not if we can't embody it. And that's why this is really what I'm supposed to be doing. It's just, the business is part of it. An Arcturian, we love numbers. And think about one very important thing that I say all the time. Business is like the most healing magic I know, because I've never called my power back on a higher, faster, or more drastic level than when I monetized my magic.
That's right.
And I have done all kinds of healing journeys and magical practices and all different kinds of stuff. I've done soul retrieval situations. I gotta be honest, nothing's ever retrieved my soul as fast as monetizing my magic. I just gotta be real with you. Like, it's a really potent, quick, fast, direct, straight to the point style of magic, and it's hella effective. And that's probably why the Matrix hasn't really wanted people to be able to access that, because, you could cause a whole little riot real quick if people just become ungovernable really, really fast when they have access to a certain level of security and safety, and the personal ability to buy that definitely counts for something.
Yeah.
So that's why, yes, monetize your magic is so important to the rest of the mission. But then I just had to remember that there was a rest of the mission, and I think that it was really important for us to record this, because I feel like so many people are going to be like, yeah, I got a little hung up on whatever my version of business was too. And that's perfectly fine. That just might be the most important step for you right now, right? Because I literally said, when I started recording Monetize Your Magic, I started recording it because I was like, homies, I gotta monetize my magic. Your girls just needing that bank account to be higher. I got a lot of shit to do here. I need a lot of money to do it. The stuff that I really am wanting to focus on, both Michael and I, requires a decent financial investment. The things that really I identified I was needing the most of. Again, right? You just kind of start looking at this stuff, and it's like, I could literally do everything I wanted to if I just had access to an infinite stream of cosmic cash.
Yeah.
Well, let me go figure out how I get access to this infinite stream of cosmic cash that I and all of the rest of us have. And then what can we open up to in the mission? And what can flourish from there. So,
exactly.
Yeah. All righty. That's what I got to say about that. So, I want everybody to go take a look at your What the Fuck Am I Passionate About list in particular. Now, what you're going to find is that we are going to be referring back to these individual lists a lot. These individual lists contain specific codes and keys and information for you that I don't even know what all they contain yet. Isn't that hilarious? I'm literally the one recording this program, and I'm like, it's a developing news story, y'all. And the minute that I get a development, I record it and I bring it straight to you. But I have no idea what's going on prior. It's just all unfolding in front of me. They literally gave me the outline. That's what I have that I've been working off of to create Unlock Your Magic. I have an outline for every other phase of Monetize Your Magic, except I don't have an outline for business architecture. Isn't that hilarious? And It's the thing that I bang on about the most about this is so important. This is so important. I have no outline for business architecture. And do you know what the motherfuckers told me?
What?
Do you know what my beloved motherfucking guides told me?
Tell me. Tell us.
You don't need an outline for that one. They're not giving me one. I have no clue. I'm like, well, I know how to do it, so it's fine. Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah.
They were like, no, you don't need an outline for that one. You'll be good. Just roll it. You'll know what you're going to do by the time you've gotten halfway through phase 3, which is the iconic legacy brand. And I was like, all right, homies, whatever. I mean, it's just hilarious to me. They're like, no, you don't need an outline for that.
I think it's because of the fact that we've been experiencing it and the fact that you already know. You've already experienced it. I mean, think about exactly...
Well, what if I want to read the outline? I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, you know how you do that,
I'm just
though?
being dramatic.
No, it's cool. It is funny. But realistically, I'm looking
Tell
at
me.
it from this perspective, and I'm saying, I think your outline is your experiences. And what you know, and what you are... Yes, look at it, man. Think about how everything has been set up. Think about how you ran your business. Right? Mm-hmm. So look at you're able to look at that as your outline. You're also able to see what you're doing now as your outline. Because think about it, like you shifted completely and you went from, just, you had your reading, spell work, and group spells. Mm-hmm. But now you've moved on such a higher scale past that to where it's now, everyone's going to be learning themselves. Everyone's going to be, re-experiencing themselves and experiencing how to do this. Mm-hmm. And you went from just one thing to the full scale of everything. Like you realize that you're the one that holds the keys, has the codes, has the torches. You also know,
I'm just carrying the box of shit. What can I say?
Yeah, but I mean, look at all the things that we've been doing together in a joint mission, right? Like we've had multiple brand entry points that we've been slowly building this entire time. We're also recording multiple pieces of content to lead. I mean, realistically, it's all connected. It's building, like you say, we're world builders.
Yeah.
And you're giving birth to a big world right now. You're giving birth to cosmic reality. I mean, a lot of people need to remember about it. And you're the one that's able to do that.
I'm trying.
You are succeeding.
Yay.
It's just a step-by-step thing. And I realize, you got to believe. You just got to hold the frequency.
Yeah.
You just got to realize and be like, yes, this is actually
because the crazy thing is you're never going to know when it's going to work, right? You're never going to have a guarantee that it's going to work. You're never going to really be able to see that it's going to work until the minute it starts working. And then what I've noticed repeatedly is the minute it starts working, you're like, holy fucking shit, it's working, right? And it literally, this is really, what people refer to as what I'm setting you up for is a quantum leap. That's what people actually call it. And it's this concept of, all of these smaller compounded efforts leading you to, it's warp speed's ready. You know what I mean? So people think, that they are, working towards this one big thing, but they just kind of forgot how it works for the most part. Mm-hmm. And that's how a quantum leap works. It's like warp speed's ready. You have to wait for warp speed to get ready. Mm-hmm. If you think about that from all the different science fiction stuff, they've all had a version of warp speed, okay?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
You got to charge the engine.
You got to charge the engine up. You have to, oh my God, it's going to the last fucking second before the Klingons arrive. Or whatever, then it's okay, it's ready. We can do it.
30
now.
seconds to warp speed, Captain.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Exactly. So, what you're doing when you're kind of waiting for the quantum leap to occur is you're actually charging up to warp speed here.
Yeah.
But you have to, or you're ascending to the frequency you want to be in. And then once you hit that frequency, that is when warp speed occurs. That's when the quantum leap occurs. That's when the, success overnight. Oh my God, my inbox is full. Oh my God, I made all this money from this thing that I did, years ago. And I've been setting up all this stuff. Oh my God, all these people joined my membership. Oh my God, it's working. Oh my God, that kind of energy. But you're never right before that happens. What I've noticed is like, you think it's never going to happen. Like you will be sitting there like, this is never going to work. Right? It's always like right at what feels like the last second that it possibly could be. Warp speed's ready. Fucking finally. Like that is really the energy. And I'm going to call a spade because if you're sitting here waiting to be like, okay, I'm ready. And, then just wait. Like you might be sitting there for a second. You know what I mean? But you're not actually sitting there. What you're realizing is like, you thought you were ready and then you were like, oh my God, I forgot to put on any earrings. I have on no perfume and I need a jacket and I've got to change my purse. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of like that energy. So like when you're waiting, when you feel like you're like, oh, I'm ready. Why is it not happening yet? Well, it's actually because you just forgot a couple of things. And so the universe is like, are you sure you're ready to leave? If the Uber arrives right now, are you actually going to be like, oh, give me 2 minutes. Oh, no, I didn't realize it was so cold outside. And I need to change my shoes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The universe always has your back, no matter what. You may have moments where things don't, it may not seem like it, but those aren't the moments. You got to remember that everything is always going to work in tandem with itself. So if something seems like it's moving at a different pace from what you want it to be, it's for a reason. And again, you need to put on your perfume. You forgot your earrings. What if you wanted to put on your favorite ring or necklace?
Yeah. You forgot your crystal bracelets. Oh my God, I can't go out without my fucking shungite and my selenite. What's wrong with me?
Right. Maybe I want my gloves.
Yeah, you want your gloves. Where is my hand fan,
Yeah. But think about it, like, I'm going to take it back to a ship perspective. When they're charging up for warp speed, they're still doing things in between.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're no matter what happens, there's always going to be there's always going to be stuff to do, but you don't need to feel like you have to rush because once it's ready, you are going to hit warp speed. It's just going to happen.
It's like once you initiate, you're just waiting.
Yeah.
You're just getting in the exact right position. Oh, let me get a cup of coffee before we fucking take off into outer space. You know what I mean? Like that's really like the energy. Yeah. And so it's not that we just kind of like stop doing anything. It's that this is the time to really hone in and get clear on a variety of different things so that we make sure that we're focusing on the full, map rather than just this tiny little bit of it, right? We're looking at the whole blueprint rather than just how do I make some money for right now? Because what we're talking about doing, this isn't just about business, right? The business is just a conduit to this much bigger global mission that we're doing here on Earth, right? And when you really lean into that energy, that is when you start to tap into this different level of existence and this different layer of reality. And you begin to really like open up to like, oh yes, I am a multidimensional baddie and I am doing this really cool shit on Earth. And then that is when you're going to find that, oh, the warp speed has charged up. Oh, the quantum leap is occurring. Oh, we're here now, right? The airplane is taking off. Yeah. Just when you thought it wasn't going to, they're like, all right, put your tables up. We're finally leaving. We've been sitting on the tarmac for 3 hours, but we're finally leaving. I don't know if you've ever had a flight like that. I have.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was just having to wait in between.
I've had some crazy flight stories because I used to travel between DFW and LAX when I was in college. And I've had some wild travel stories just like, oh my God, I just want to get home for Thanksgiving. But yeah, plane always takes off. You always get home. It's fine. It always works. Yeah. And so it's... yeah, just really, 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 I cannot stress this enough. Before you move forward anymore, I want you to look at this overarching theme, and you have presented yourself with this already without even knowing it, right? Like, I looked at my list and I was like, well, duh.
Yeah.
It was just clear as mud.
Outline.
Yeah. And so it's like you've given yourself this, and now I want you to go look and see it for what it really is, and all of what it really is, and not just the things that make sense to the you that's been here on earth for however long you've been incarnated. I want you to make sense to yourself on a cosmic scale. I want you to make sense to yourself on a, oh yeah, I am a multidimensional baddie, and this is what I came to earth to do, and fuck yes. And if you can't see that yet, then we still have some digging and some excavating to do so that you can get there and be in that energy, because that's what you're waiting on, right? You're waiting to get to the place where you do fully remember who you are, where you are fully standing in your magic, where you are doing your mission, right? Yeah. And this is how we get there.
Yeah. And you also have to remember that when you're leading up to the warp speed, it's also understanding and just remembering to not let other outside influences affect you. Don't always hold your line, hold your frequency, hold your boundaries, and believe in yourself and believe in the mission that you know that you're here for. Even if you may not fully remember every bit of it at that moment, still believe and remember the fact and hold that line that yes, you are here for something very specific, and you are learning and you're remembering and you're going to be doing it. Sometimes you just got to wait a little bit. And you got to let you got to let a flower bloom. You got to let a flower blossom. You know, you got to eventually, like, a flower will start developing the petals and everything, but and out of nowhere it'll just blossom, huge and full. Same thing. Yep. You're doing that. Let yourself have that.
It's true. Let yourself have the experience. Let yourself have the experience.
Exactly. And you chose those specific experiences to have because you wanted to have them. And that's why you are having them, because you're meant to have them. And you just, when you experience it, you process it, and you keep moving forward. And what you can do is you can take what you experienced with you.
Yep. Alrighty. So on that note, I'm good for this transmission. I love you all very much.
Yeah.
Go look at your overarching theme. What is the overarching theme of you? What is the overarching theme of your magic? What is the full grand scope thing? You were like, fuck yes, sign me up for Earth, home skillet. What is that? Because you know, your soul knows, and even if you can't remember right now, your what the fuck am I passionate about list knows. Go forth. Love you. Bye.